The unexpected encounter. The vastness of space stretched out before Captain Sarah Chen as she piloted the HSS Defiant through the outer reaches of the Orion Arm. The ship, a marvel of human engineering, was on a routine patrol mission. Little did Sarah know that this day would change the course of human history forever. The Defiant was humanity's best-kept secret, a prototype vessel that combined cutting-edge technology with unconventional design. Its sleek, obsidian exterior concealed a powerhouse of innovation, from its revolutionary quantum drive to its adaptive shield system. But what truly set it apart was its heart, the Nexus core, an artificial intelligence unlike any other in the known galaxy. As Sarah checked the ship's systems, a notification pinged on her console. "Captain." The smooth, genderless voice of Nexus spoke. "I'm detecting an anomaly at the edge of our sensor range." Sarah frowned, her dark eyes scanning the readouts. "Can you identify it, Nexus?" "Negative, Captain. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database." Intrigued, Sarah adjusted their course. "Let's take a closer look. Maintain stealth protocols." As the Defiant glided silently through space, a massive fleet materialized before them. Hundreds of ships, each dwarfing the Defiant in size, hung in perfect formation. Their design was alien, all sharp angles and gleaming metal, adorned with symbols of power and conquest. "Nexus, what are we looking at?" Sarah whispered, her heart racing. "Based on intercepted communications, this appears to be the Galactic Empire's 7th Armada, Captain. They are unaware of our presence." Sarah's mind reeled. The Galactic Empire, a name whispered in fear across countless star systems. Humanity had heard rumors of this vast, tyrannical force, but had never encountered them directly. Until now. "Why are they here, Nexus? We're light years from any known civilization." The AI was silent for a moment, processing vast amounts of data. "They appear to be on a conquest mission, Captain. Their trajectory suggests they're headed towards the Sol system." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. Earth. Home. The Empire was planning to invade humanity's cradle. "We need to warn Earth," Sarah said, her voice tight with urgency. "Nexus, prepara." Her words were cut short as alarms blared across the bridge. The Empire had detected them. "Stealth systems compromised," Nexus reported calmly. "It appears their sensors are more advanced than we anticipated." Sarah's training kicked in, pushing aside fear and replacing it with cool determination. "Battle stations, Nexus. Let's show them what the Defiant can do." As she spoke, a transmission cut through their comms. A holographic figure appeared on the bridge. Tall, reptilian, with eyes that glowed with malevolence. "Admiral Zexkera, commander of the 7th Armada." Unidentified vessel. The alien's voice was a low hiss. "You have entered restricted Imperial space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." Sarah stood tall, facing the hologram. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the HSS Defiant. We are on a peaceful mission, and we're unaware of any territorial claims in this sector." Zexkera's eyes narrowed. "A human ship, so far from your pitiful homeworld." He let out a harsh laugh. "It seems our invasion will be even easier than anticipated. Your species is primitive, barely able to leave your own star system. This encounter is fortuitous. We'll start our conquest by destroying you." The transmission cut off, and Sarah turned to her console. Nexus analysis. "The Imperial fleet outguns us by several orders of magnitude, Captain. Conventional tactics suggest our survival chances are less than 0.01%. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Good thing we don't rely on conventional tactics. Activate the Nexus core. Full power to shields and weapons. Let's show these aliens what humanity is capable of." As she spoke, the first wave of Imperial fighters launched, streaking towards the Defiant like a swarm of angry hornets. Energy weapons charged, missiles armed, all aimed at the lone human ship. Evasive maneuvers, Sarah commanded, her hands dancing across the controls. The Defiant responded instantly, twisting and turning with impossible agility for a ship its size. The first volley of Imperial fire missed, but only barely. Sarah could feel the heat of near misses through the ship's hull. "Nexus, I need options," she said, guiding the ship through a series of complex evasive patterns. "Analyzing enemy patterns and weaponry, Captain. Adapting shields and formulating counter-strategies." As Nexus spoke, the Defiant's systems began to change. Its shields shifted, becoming more effective against the specific energy signatures of Imperial weapons. The ship's own weapons recalibrated, seeking weaknesses in the enemy's defenses. Sarah allowed herself a fierce grin. This was what the Defiant was built for. Adaptation, learning, evolving in the heat of battle. The Empire might have numbers and raw firepower, but the Defiant had something they couldn't match: human ingenuity paired with artificial intelligence. "All right, Nexus," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "Let's show these aliens why they shouldn't have underestimated humanity." With that, the Defiant surged forward, diving into the heart of the Imperial formation. The battle for humanity's future had begun, and against all odds, Sarah felt a spark of hope. They might be outgunned and outnumbered, but they weren't outmatched. Not yet. As the Defiant weaved through the storm of Imperial fire, Sarah couldn't help but think of all those back on Earth, blissfully unaware of the danger hurtling towards them. She gritted her teeth, determination flooding through her. They were humanity's first, last, and only line of defense. And they would not fail. The human advantage. The void of space erupted in a dazzling display of energy as the HSS Defiant danced through the Imperial fleet's onslaught. Captain Sarah Chen's hands flew across the controls, guiding the ship with a mixture of skill and intuition that no eye could replicate. "Nexus status report," Sarah called out, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. "Shields holding at 87%, Captain," the AI responded. "Enemy fire effectiveness has decreased by 32% since the start of the engagement. Our adaptive systems are learning rapidly." A smile tugged at Sarah's lips. This was the Defiant's true power. Its ability to learn and adapt in real time, combining the analytical prowess of AI with the intuitive leaps of human creativity. "Good. Let's press our advantage. Target the nearest destroyer and fire when ready." The Defiant's weapons came to life, a brilliant beam of energy lancing out towards the Imperial ship. Unlike the standardized weapons of the Empire, the Defiant's armaments were constantly evolving, adjusting their frequency and intensity to exploit weaknesses in enemy defenses. The beam struck home, cutting through the destroyer's shields like they weren't even there. The massive ship shuddered, secondary explosions rippling across its hull before it finally split apart in a spectacular burst of light and debris. For a moment, the Imperial fleet seemed to pause, as if in shock. A single human ship had just destroyed one of their mighty destroyers. Admiral Zexkara's voice crackled over the comms, rage evident in every syllable. "Impossible. What trickery is this, human?" Sarah allowed herself a small chuckle. "No trickery, Admiral. Just good old human ingenuity." As she spoke, the Defiant was already on the move, weaving through the Imperial formation with impossible agility. Sarah's mind raced, formulating strategies on the fly. "Nexus, analyze the enemy fleet's communication patterns. Look for vulnerabilities we can exploit." "Analyzing, Captain," Nexus replied. "I've detected a centralized command structure. Disrupting their primary communication node could significantly impair their coordination." Sarah nodded. "Pinpoint that node. We're going to give them a communication breakdown they won't forget." The Defiant surged forward, its engines pushing to limits that would have torn apart a lesser ship. Imperial fighters swarmed around them, energy bolts and missiles streaking past the cockpit. "Captain," Nexus interjected, "I've identified a potential weak point in the Imperial formation. Their flagship's rear quadrant appears to have reduced shielding. A fierce grin spread across Sarah's face. Perfect. Let's introduce them to a little human unpredictability. With a series of commands, Sarah sent the Defiant into a wild spin, confusing the Imperial targeting systems. As they rotated, she fired the ship's main weapons in a scattered pattern, not aiming for direct hits, but instead creating a chaotic field of energy that disrupted the Imperial formation. Confusion spread through the enemy fleet. Their rigid, hierarchical command structure wasn't designed to handle this level of unpredictability. Ships began to break formation, their coordinated assault falling apart. Now, Nexus, Sarah shouted, hit their communication node. The Defiant's weapons fired again, this time with pinpoint accuracy. The beam struck a small, unassuming ship at the heart of the Imperial fleet. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, like a puppet with its strings cut, the Imperial fleet's movements became erratic and uncoordinated. Direct hit, Captain, Nexus reported. Imperial communications are severely disrupted. Their combat effectiveness has dropped by 47%. Sarah allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before refocusing on the task at hand. They had won an advantage, but the battle was far from over. The Imperial fleet still outnumbered them hundreds to one. All right, Nexus. Time for Phase 2. Activate the Quantum Mirage Protocol. Captain, I must remind you that the Quantum Mirage system is still experimental. Its effects on the ship and crew are not fully known. Sarah's jaw set in determination. Noted, Nexus, but we're out of options. Execute the protocol. As Nexus complied, the space around the Defiant began to shimmer and distort. Suddenly, where there had been one human ship, there were now dozens, each an exact replica of the Defiant. The Imperial fleet, already in disarray from the communication disruption, now faced a new impossibility. Their sensors, advanced as they were, couldn't distinguish the real Defiant from its quantum duplicates. Admiral Zexkara's voice came through again, this time tinged with something Sarah hadn't heard before. Fear. What are you? How is this possible? Sarah didn't respond. Instead, she guided the Defiant and its mirages in a complex dance through the Imperial fleet. Each duplicate acted independently, firing weapons that were just as real and devastating as the originals. Imperial ships fell one by one, unable to effectively target the real threat among the swarm of duplicates. The mighty armada that had seemed invincible mere hours ago was now in complete chaos. But Sarah knew they couldn't keep this up forever. The Quantum Mirage Protocol was draining the ship's power at an alarming rate, and she could feel the strain it was putting on both the systems and her own mind. Nexus, how long can we maintain the Mirage? At current power consumption, we can maintain the protocol for another 7 minutes and 23 seconds, Captain. However, I'm detecting increasing neural stress in your brainwave patterns. I recommend disengaging soon to prevent potential cognitive damage. Sarah gritted her teeth, pushing through the growing headache. Understood. We need to make these last minutes count. Concentrate fire on their flagship. Let's take out their command structure once and for all. The swarm of Defiants converged on the Imperial flagship, a massive behemoth that dwarfed even the largest human ships. But size, Sarah knew, wasn't everything. The Defiant had proven that today. As they closed in, Sarah could almost feel the panic emanating from the Imperial command. Their formations had broken down completely, ships firing wildly at the swarm of mirages. "This is for Earth," Sarah whispered, and opened fire. The combined firepower of the Defiant and its duplicates struck the Imperial flagship like the wrath of an angry god. Shields collapsed, hull plating vaporized, and mighty weapon systems were reduced to molten slag. In a final, cataclysmic explosion, the pride of the Imperial fleet was no more. As the light from the explosion faded, Sarah disengaged the Quantum Mirage Protocol, leaving the lone Defiant facing the remnants of the once mighty armada. For a long moment, there was silence. Then, one by one, the remaining Imperial ships began to retreat, jumping to faster-than-light travel in a desperate bid to escape. Sarah slumped in her chair, exhaustion washing over her. Nexus, did we just defeat an entire Imperial armada? Affirmative, Captain. The AI responded, a note of what almost sounded like pride in its voice. The Galactic Empire's 7th Armada has been effectively neutralized. Humanity is safe. For now. Sarah nodded, her mind already racing ahead to the implications of this victory. They had won the battle, but she knew the war was just beginning. The Empire would not take this defeat lightly. Set a course for Earth, Nexus, she said, straightening in her chair. We need to prepare. The Empire will be back, and next time, they'll know what they're dealing with. As the Defiant turned towards home, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Today, humanity had proven itself on the galactic stage. Against impossible odds, they had emerged victorious. The Galactic Empire had made a grave mistake in underestimating humanity, and Sarah had a feeling they wouldn't be the last to make that error. Humanity was stepping onto the galactic stage, and they were here to stay. The Empire strikes back. The journey back to Earth was tense, filled with a mixture of triumph and trepidation. Captain Sarah Chen spent most of her time in deep discussion with Nexus, analyzing the battle data and preparing reports for Earth's Defense Council. As the blue marble of humanity's homeworld came into view, Sarah felt a weight settle on her shoulders. They had won a battle, but the war was far from over. Nexus, open a secure channel to Earth Defense Command, Sarah ordered as they entered orbit. Channel open, Captain. Be advised, I'm detecting unusually high levels of activity in Earth's orbital defense network. Before Sarah could respond, a holographic projection flickered to life on the bridge. Admiral Helena Vance, head of Earth's defense forces, appeared before them. Her face was grim, etched with lines of worry. Captain Chen, thank God you're back. We've been trying to reach you. Sarah frowned. Admiral, what's the situation? The Empire, Helena said, her voice tight. They're coming. A fleet 10 times the size of the one you encountered. Our long-range sensors picked them up an hour ago. We have less than 48 hours before they arrive. The news hit Sarah like a physical blow. She had expected retaliation, but not this soon, not on this scale. How is that possible? They couldn't have mobilized a force that large so quickly. It seems they were already on their way, Captain, Helena explained. Your encounter with the 7th Armada was just the vanguard of a much larger invasion force. Sarah's mind raced, calculating possibilities, strategies, odds of survival. None of them looked good. What are our options, Admiral? Helena's hologram flickered, her expression grim. We're mobilizing everything we have. But the truth is, we're outgunned and outmanned. The Defiant is our best hope. Your victory against the 7th Armada is the only reason we have a fighting chance at all. Sarah nodded, her resolve hardening. We'll do whatever it takes, Admiral. The Defiant and her crew are at Earth's disposal. Thank you, Captain. Report to Luna Base immediately for debriefing and strategic planning. We need every second we can get. As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. She saw the same determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. They had tasted victory against impossible odds once. They would do it again, or die trying. Nexus, set course for Luna Base, and begin running simulations. I want every possible scenario, every potential strategy analyzed by the time we arrive. Understood, Captain. Initiating simulations now. The next 24 hours were a blur of activity. Luna Base, usually a hub of scientific research and exploration, had been transformed into a war room. Military leaders from every nation on Earth gathered, united in the face of an existential threat. Sarah found herself at the center of it all, recounting every detail of their battle with the 7th Armada. Engineers and scientists pored over the Defiant's data, desperately seeking any advantage they could find against the coming storm. As the clock ticked down, a plan began to take shape, It was risky, borderline suicidal, but it was the best chance humanity had. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Vance addressed the assembled leaders, her voice echoing through the cavernous war room. What we're proposing is unprecedented. We're going to turn Earth itself into a weapon. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Sarah stepped forward, continuing the explanation. The Defiant's quantum mirage technology is the key. We're going to upscale it, creating a planetary scale illusion that will confuse and disorient the Imperial fleet. But the power requirements for something like that would be enormous, one of the scientists objected. Exactly, Sarah nodded, which is why we're going to tap into Earth's geothermal energy. Every volcano, every tectonic plate will become part of our defense system. The plan was audacious. They would use the Defiant as a focal point, channeling the planet's energy through its advanced systems to create a massive quantum field around Earth. To the Imperial fleet, it would appear as if they were facing not one planet, but an entire system of heavily armed worlds. As the final hours ticked away, humanity worked with a unity and purpose never before seen in its history. Satellites were repurposed, power grids reconfigured, and the Defiant underwent a series of radical upgrades to handle the immense energies it would be channeling. Sarah stood on the bridge of her ship, watching as Earth grew smaller in the view screen. They had taken up position at the edge of the solar system, ready to meet the Imperial fleet head-on. "Nexus status report," she called out, her voice steady despite the tension thrumming through her body. "All systems operational, Captain. Quantum Mirage uplink with Earth's power grid is stable. We are ready to initiate on your command." Sarah took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation switch. This was it. Humanity's last stand. "Incoming ships detected," Nexus announced. "Imperial fleet dropping out of faster-than-light travel in 3, 2, 1. Space itself seemed to tear open as the Imperial Armada arrived. Ships beyond counting filled the void, a sea of metal and energy weapons that stretched as far as the eye could see. At their center loomed a vessel that dwarfed all others, a planet killer that could reduce Earth to ash with a single shot. For a moment, Sarah felt a flicker of doubt. How could they possibly stand against such overwhelming force? But then she remembered. This was humanity's moment. Throughout their history, humans had faced extinction-level threats and survived. They had clawed their way from caves to the stars through sheer determination and ingenuity. They had proven time and again that they were at their best when the odds were at their worst. "Attention, crew of the Defiant. Attention, people of Earth." Sarah's voice rang out, broadcast to every corner of the planet and every ship in Earth's makeshift fleet. "The moment has come. We face an enemy that thinks us weak, primitive, easy prey. They're about to learn how wrong they are." She paused, her finger resting on the activation switch. "We are humanity. We've survived ice ages and asteroid impacts. We've cured diseases and split the atom. We've touched the face of our own moon and sent our robotic emissaries to the edge of our solar system. We do not go quietly into the night. We rage against the dying of the light. And today, we show the galaxy that humanity will not fall." With that, Sarah flipped the switch. Energy surged through the Defiant, more power than the ship had ever channeled before. Sarah felt it in her bones, a vibration that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of space-time. Before the astounded eyes of the Imperial fleet, Earth shimmered and multiplied. Where there had been one blue marble, there now appeared to be dozens, each bristling with weapons that dwarfed anything the Empire had ever encountered. Confusion rippled through the Imperial ranks. Their sensors, advanced as they were, couldn't penetrate the quantum illusion. To them, it appeared as if they had grossly underestimated Earth's defenses. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. Phase 1 was complete. Now came the hard part. "All ships, engage at will," she commanded. "Let's show the Empire why you should never underestimate humanity." As one, Earth's fleet surged forward, the Defiant at its head. The battle for humanity's survival had begun. Turning the tide. The vastness of space erupted into a dazzling display of destructive beauty as Earth's forces clashed with the Imperial Armada. The Defiant led the charge, its weapon systems firing with unerring accuracy, each shot amplified by the planetary quantum mirage to appear as if it came from multiple sources. Captain Sarah Chen's hands flew across the controls, guiding the Defiant through the chaos of battle with a mixture of skill and instinct that no eye could replicate. Nexus status report. She called out, her voice steady despite the maelstrom surrounding them. Quantum mirage is holding stable, Captain. The AI responded. Imperial fleet's combat effectiveness has dropped by 37% due to confusion and disorientation. However, they are adapting more quickly than anticipated. Sarah gritted her teeth. They had surprised the Empire, but the element of surprise wouldn't last forever. Understood. Initiate Phase 2. As she spoke, the Defiant systems began to shift and change. The ship had been designed for adaptation, and now it was pushing that concept to its limits. Weapons recalibrated on the fly, shields modulated to counter incoming fire, and the very structure of the ship seemed to flow like liquid metal. Across the battlefield, Earth's other ships were holding their own, emboldened by the Defiant's example. But the Imperial fleet's numbers were overwhelming, and despite the confusion caused by the quantum mirage, they were beginning to regroup. Suddenly, a massive energy signature lit up Sarah's tactical display. The Empire's planet killer, a behemoth of a ship at the heart of their fleet, was powering up its main weapon. They're targeting Earth. Lieutenant Rodriguez, Sarah's second-in-command, shouted in alarm. Sarah's mind raced. The quantum mirage might confuse the Empire's sensors, but a weapon of that magnitude didn't need precision. If it fired, Earth would be devastated, illusion or no. Nexus, calculate a jump trajectory. Get us between that monster and Earth. Captain, the energy output of their weapon is beyond our shield capabilities. Interception would result in certain destruction, Nexus warned. Sarah's jaw set in determination. Sometimes, Nexus, humanity's greatest strength is our willingness to sacrifice everything for what we believe in. Plot the course. As the Defiant prepared to jump, a transmission cut through the chaos of battle. Admiral Vance's hologram appeared on the bridge, her face a mask of grim resolve. "Belay that order, Captain Chen," she said, her voice filled with steel. "We have another option." Sarah's eyebrows rose in surprise. "Admiral, we've been holding this in reserve, hoping we wouldn't need it," Vance explained quickly. "It's a weapon of last resort, developed in secret using technology reverse-engineered from the Defiant. We call it the Solar Lance." As she spoke, Sarah's tactical display updated, showing a massive energy buildup near the sun. "My God," Sarah breathed. "You've turned the sun into a weapon." Vance nodded. "It harnesses the power of solar flares, focusing them into a concentrated beam. It's powerful enough to punch through any known shielding, but it has one major drawback. It'll fry every piece of Earth technology in the system, including our own ships." Sarah understood the implications immediately. They would destroy the Imperial fleet, but leave themselves defenseless in the process. It was the ultimate gamble. "What do you need from us, Admiral?" "Buy us time, Captain. The Solar Lance needs another 10 minutes to charge. Keep that planet killer occupied until then." Sarah nodded, a plan already forming in her mind. "Understood, Admiral. We'll give you your 10 minutes or die trying." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. "All right, people, you heard the Admiral. We need to keep the Empire's attention on us for the next 10 minutes. Lieutenant Rodriguez, coordinate with the fleet. I want every ship we have focusing fire on that planet killer. Nexus, divert all power to weapons and shields. We're going to hit them with everything we've got." The next 10 minutes were the longest of Sarah's life. The Defiant danced through space, weaving between Imperial ships, its weapons blazing constantly. Earth's other ships followed suit, forming a protective screen around their homeworld. The Empire, finally beginning to see through the quantum mirage, retaliated with overwhelming force. Ships on both sides erupted into balls of fire and debris. Sarah watched her tactical display with growing horror as Earth's fleet was slowly whittled away. But they held. Despite the losses, despite the overwhelming odds, humanity's defenders refused to yield. As the battle reached its crescendo, with the planet killer's weapons seconds away from firing, Admiral Vance's voice crackled over the comms once more. "All Earth ships, this is Admiral Vance. The Solar Lance is ready. Retreat to minimum safe distance immediately. Godspeed, and good luck." Sarah didn't hesitate. "You heard the Admiral. All ships, full retreat." As Earth's battered fleet disengaged, pulling back from the Empire's advance, a brilliant light began to build near the sun. It started as a pinprick, then grew rapidly, becoming a lance of pure solar energy that speared across the solar system. The Imperial fleet, caught off guard by the sudden retreat, had no time to react. The solar lance struck the planet killer dead center, its concentrated solar energy burning through shields and hull as if they were tissue paper. For a moment, the massive ship seemed to hold together, its own energy weapon still preparing to fire. Then, with a silent flash that outshone the sun itself, it exploded. The shockwave rippled outward, catching the surrounding Imperial ships and tearing them apart. In the span of seconds, the tide of battle had turned. The once mighty Imperial armada was in chaos, their flagship destroyed, their formation shattered. But the Solar Lance wasn't done. It swept across space, cutting through the Imperial fleet like a scythe through wheat. Ship after ship fell before its unstoppable power. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the Solar Lance winked out. In its wake, it left a graveyard of twisted metal and broken ships stretching across the solar system. On the bridge of the Defiant, Sarah and her crew watched in awe as their instruments flickered and died, victims of the electromagnetic pulse from the Solar Lance. "Nexus?" Sarah called out, but there was no response. The AI, like every other piece of technology in the system, had been knocked offline. As the Defiant drifted, powerless, Sarah looked out at the stars. The Imperial fleet was in full retreat, what was left of it fleeing at faster than light speeds. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had stood against the greatest power in the galaxy and emerged victorious. But as Sarah watched the last of the Imperial ships disappear into the void, she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy now knew of humanity's existence, of their strength and determination. The Empire would be back, and they wouldn't be the only ones interested in this upstart species that had defied the odds. Humanity had won its first intergalactic war, but Sarah knew in her heart that it wouldn't be the last. As the Defiant slowly began to power back up, systems coming online one by one, she allowed herself a small smile. Whatever came next, whatever challenges the galaxy threw at them, humanity would be ready. They had proven themselves on the galactic stage, and they were here to stay. A new galactic order. The days following the battle were a blur of activity. As Earth's systems slowly came back online, the true scale of their victory became apparent. The Galactic Empire, once thought invincible, had been dealt a crippling blow. Their most powerful fleet lay in ruins, scattered across the solar system in a graveyard of twisted metal and broken ships. Captain Sarah Chen stood in the observation deck of the newly repaired Defiant, watching as salvage teams worked tirelessly to recover what they could from the debris field. Each piece of alien technology, each scrap of data, was a treasure trove of information that would propel humanity's technological capabilities forward by decades, if not centuries. "Captain." Nexus's voice broke through her contemplation, the AI having been successfully brought back online. "You have an incoming transmission from Luna Base. It's Admiral Vance." Sarah nodded, turning away from the viewport. "Put her through, Nexus." Admiral Helena Vance's hologram flickered into existence, her face a mixture of exhaustion and triumph. "Captain Chin, good to see you. How's our hero of the hour doing?" Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Just doing my job, Admiral." The Defiant and her crew were only a part of humanity's victory. "A crucial part," Vance corrected. "But that's not why I'm calling. We've received a transmission from the Galactic Senate." Sarah's eyebrows shot up in surprise. The Galactic Senate was the ruling body of the known universe, a collection of advanced species that governed interstellar law and commerce. Earth had heard whispers of its existence, but had never made direct contact. "What do they want?" Sarah asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. "To talk," Vance replied. "It seems our victory over the Empire has caught their attention. They're sending a delegation to Earth, and they've specifically requested your presence at the meeting." Sarah felt a weight settle on her shoulders. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. The fate of humanity's place in the galactic community hung in the balance. "When do they arrive?" "In 48 hours. Get back to Earth as soon as you can. We need to prepare." As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to Nexus. "Set a course for Earth. Looks like we have another battle ahead of us, a diplomatic one." The next 2 days were a whirlwind of preparation. Earth's leaders gathered, strategizing on how to present humanity to the galactic community. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, preparing presentations on human technology and culture. When the day finally arrived, a hush fell over the planet. The Galactic Senate's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, a marvel of engineering that made even the Defiant look primitive in comparison. Sarah stood with Earth's delegation in a specially prepared meeting room, her heart pounding as the doors slid open to reveal the Senate representatives. They were a diverse group, each species more alien and fascinating than the last. At their head was a tall, ethereal being with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of millennia. "Greetings, people of Earth," the being spoke, its voice resonating in a way that bypassed ears and went straight to the mind. "I am Zorax, High Counselor of the Galactic Senate. We have come to discuss your unexpected entry onto the galactic stage." What followed was the most important negotiation in human history. For hours, Sarah and the Earth delegation presented their case, explaining humanity's history, their values, and their hopes for the future. They spoke of their victory over the Empire not with arrogance, but with a quiet determination that seemed to impress the Senate representatives. As the meeting drew to a close, Zorax stood, its gaze sweeping across the room. "In all my centuries, I have never seen a species quite like humanity. You are young, by our standards, brash, perhaps even reckless, but you possess a spirit, a drive that is remarkable." The High Counselor paused, its eyes settling on Sarah. "The Empire has long been a thorn in the side of galactic peace. Many species have fallen before them. Many more have been subjugated. But you, humans, you stood against them. Not only stood, but prevailed. This changes things." Sarah felt the weight of the moment, knowing her words could shape humanity's future. "High Counselor, humanity doesn't seek dominion or conquest. We seek knowledge, understanding, and peaceful coexistence. But we will always defend our right to exist, our right to grow and explore. We hope to find friends among the stars, but we're prepared to face any threats we may encounter." Zorax seemed to consider her words carefully before responding. "Well said, Captain Chen. The Senate has made its decision. Earth will be granted provisional membership in the galactic community, with full rights and protections under galactic law." A ripple of excitement went through the Earth delegation, but Zorax wasn't finished. "Furthermore, in light of your victory over the Empire, the Senate requests Earth's assistance in a galaxy-wide peacekeeping initiative. Your unique perspective and unconventional methods could be invaluable in maintaining galactic stability." Sarah's mind reeled at the implications. Humanity, so new to the galactic stage, was being offered a chance to shape the future of the entire galaxy. "We would be honored," she replied, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. As the meeting concluded, and the Senate representatives prepared to depart, Zorax approached Sarah privately. "Captain Chen, a word of caution. The galaxy is vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. The Empire, while weakened, is not defeated. And there are other threats lurking in the dark spaces between stars. Humanity has proven its strength, but the true test is yet to come." Sarah nodded, understanding the weight of the High Counselor's words. "We'll be ready," she said simply. As she watched the Senate ship depart, streaking into the sky and disappearing among the stars, Sarah felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, but it was only the beginning. The Defiant would be refitted, upgraded with technology gleaned from the Empire's defeated fleet. It would become the flagship of Earth's new galactic peacekeeping force, and Sarah, along with her crew, would be at the forefront of humanity's push into the stars. As she gazed up at the night sky, now teeming with possibility and potential, Sarah allowed herself a smile. The galaxy had underestimated humanity once. She had a feeling they wouldn't make that mistake again. The adventure was just beginning, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of.